Mabbott, Mabbutt.
And I'm going to ask you, how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing it for 16 years. Well, the toxicology reports, right, they usually take 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes longer. But they might, I don't think they're going to be relevant in the actual manner or cause of death. Well, there was a lot of blood.
Oh no!
Hi everyone, it's Ruby G with Truth and Neurons. Today I'm talking about the Idaho 4 case, and I'm looking into early reports from investigators who initially portrayed the tragedy as the work of a lone perpetrator. However, this initial narrative has been called into question as inconsistencies emerged between official accounts and family statements regarding the victims' injuries. From the onset of this case, some parents of the victims have reportedly suggested that some wounds don't align with the theory presented by authorities.
On the morning of November 13th, at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch Center reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as a homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault.
I got the call just a few minutes after noon that there were 4 homicides, but I didn't go to the scene because of law enforcement doing their investigation first. So I didn't actually go to the scene until about 5 or 5:30.
Can you walk us through, like, for our viewers, kind of the process between when police show up and then you guys getting the bodies and doing your examinations?
Sure. Well, law enforcement goes through and looks for any evidence, takes videos and pictures of everything in there, and they'll start talking with people. So I don't really need to be there for that. They can't move the bodies. I mean, the bodies have to stay as they were until the coroner gets there. So no, we, some do if they're an actual medical examiner, but we have forensic pathologists and we contract with Spokane to do that.
Between the time of death and when police found them, approximately?
No, I don't know for sure.
Do we have, like, any, like, could it have been hours? Could it have been a day? Was it maybe close? Like, is there any sort of, like, time frame there?
No.
How the killer was able to get away unnoticed. A former student who graduated in 2022 and lived at the same house during his junior year talks about his experience there.
It's definitely an old creaky house. You can't walk up any of the stairs or on any of the floors without everybody in the house knowing it.
Cole Alternator says the building doesn't offer much privacy and was well known to students.
A lot of students are very familiar with the inside of the home.
Partial autopsy reports for the 4 friends released on Thursday. The county coroner indicating the time of death was sometime after 2 a.m. Time of death was sometime after 2 a.m.
It's pretty traumatic when there's 4 dead college students who have been stabbed to death in one location.
The autopsies also showing all 4 victims were killed by what was described as a bigger knife. They had extensive injuries from multiple stab wounds, and that the wounds varied, including different places people were stabbed and the amount of times. The coroner did not say where in the home the victims were found or whether they had defensive wounds, showing they attempted to fight back. Investigators are now working to determine whether the suspect's DNA might have been left at the scene.
Well, looking to see if there are some clues that are on them. Some of the suspects' blood, perhaps, or something under somebody's fingernails.
Kaylee Goncalves' injuries were significantly more brutal than her best friend Maddie's injuries, which may end up being a very, very important piece of evidence when it comes to determining who the target was in this attack. I have learned Kaylee and Maddie were in an upstairs room in the house, so the killer had to go specifically upstairs to get to them.
But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go
have
up
been
the
target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just gonna say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill. Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in the box, and I can speak on that.
I was also told from sources that are closer to an investigation, because there was a lot of roommates in there. And this was horrific for those roommates that were there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The preservation of this crime scene. Witnesses tell me that it may have well been preserved because the phone was passed around between one of the fraternity members and the girls. One of them unfortunately witnessed the death, the body there. Can you confirm that?
We cannot actually. We know nothing about that whole phone call.
I want to bring in John Webb now. He is the North Idaho reporter for KHQ, and he just sat down with Idaho State Police spokesman Aaron Snell. John, thanks for doing this with me tonight. What did the spokesman tell you? Anything that's advanced some of the details or the theories of what happened in that home?
There wasn't much new information released today, Ashley. We did do kind of a debunk with him. We talked about some of the rumors that were spreading online. You know it. Everybody knows that there's been a lot of theories about this homicide. And we asked him point blank, he said yes or no to these homicide rumors. And for most of the questions that we asked him, he wasn't aware of the information that we were providing or didn't want to comment on it. The only thing that he said was incorrect, and I'm trying to find it in my notes. It says that the kids were bound and gagged, and we knew that a couple of days ago, Ashley.
Right. The victims' families have long complained about a lack of information from authorities. And on that front, Mrs. Goncalves related to NBC a bizarre and disturbing incident involving the coroner, Kathy Mabbutt. She says that she herself has never spoken with this coroner, but that her 17-year-old daughter has. That would be Kaylee's teenage sister. She says the coroner spoke on the phone with the teenager and gave graphic details of how her sister was murdered when asked. To help break all of this down, I want to bring in Bobby Chacon. He is a former FBI special agent and expert in criminal investigations. He also happens to be an attorney.
No, it certainly is very bad practice. I've never heard that before. Talking to a minor family member, sister of a victim. I mean, that's poor practice. I mean, the all communication should be consolidated. It should be one point of contact with the authorities to the families. They should be updated on a regular basis.
And overnight, one of the fathers of the victims, Xana Kernodle, told KTVK in Arizona that he thinks that the autopsy shows that his daughter fought back. He called her a tough kid. Now, we talked to the coroner yesterday about bruises that were found on some of the victims, but they said at this point it is still too soon to tell whether those were defensive wounds or not.
Were the 4 college kids brutally murdered with a knife like this one? It's called a Rambo knife. It's got a 7-inch long blade. You can see part of this steel blade is serrated. Detectives have been going to Sporting Goods and other stores in the area to ask if they've sold a brand like this made by K-Bar. The actual murder weapon has not been found, and police are searching dumpsters, hoping to find it.
That's all for today's episode of Truth and Neurons. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the ethics of media commentary in high-profile cases. Until next time, keep thinking critically and questioning everything. Cheers, bye.